this Washington County Board of Education meeting together under the continued provision of the state executive order to protect the safety and welfare of the public. The Washington County Board of Education meeting today is closed to the public. Some board members will be participating electronically in order to maintain transparency. The meeting is live streamed and an audio recording will be provided as requested. The live stream link can be found on the website www.wcde.org. Before I call the meeting to order, I am going to take attendance. Annette Buchanan.
Present.
Todd Ganger.
Here.
Chad Fleener.
Here.
Jason Day.
Here.
Mary Beth Dilger.
Here.
Mitch Meredith.
Present.
David Hammonds.
You're muted.
Here.
Philip McLean.
Present.
Okay. Call the board meeting to order. First thing I'd like to say is I'd like for everybody to please stand up and give Susan Kiernan a round of applause for her retiring. Tomorrow is her last day. And I've been here. I've been here for 14 years, and she has been somebody that I could always talk to, and I appreciate everything she's done for me.
Bless your heart even more.
And I don't know how long she's been in the system, but I appreciate everything she's done. So, consideration. What? Oh, sorry. Mary Beth, will you please lead us in the pledge of the flag?
After a moment of silence.
Yes, I screwed up. Bad.
Please stand.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I need a motion to consider the consent agenda.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Ms. Buchanan?
Yes.
Mr. Day?
Yes.
Ms. Dellinger?
Yes.
Mr. Fleener?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Ganger?
Aye.
Mr. Hammond?
Yes.
Mr. McLean?
Yes.
Mr. Meredith?
Yes.
Mr. Irvin?
Aye. Okay, now I need a motion on consideration of the meeting agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I move for approval of the meeting agenda.
I second.
I have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Ms. Buchanan?
Yes.
Mr. Day?
Yes.
Ms. Dellinger?
Yes.
Mr. Fleener?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Ganger?
Aye.
Mr. Hammond?
Yes.
Mr. McLean?
Yes.
Mr. Meredith?
Yes.
Mr. Irvin?
Aye. Okay, now we're going into executive session.
So do you have to suspend the meeting?
here for reelection. As the, okay, I'm gonna bring us back to order.
Mr. Chairman, may I make a motion?
Yes, Ms. Dillinger?
I make a motion that we pay the total of $79,127.52 to the teachers that we owe.
Okay.
Second?
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. McLean. Any, discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Ms. Buchanan,
Yes.
Mr. Day,
Yes.
Ms. Dellinger,
Yes.
Mr. Fleeter,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Ganger,
Aye.
Mr. Hammond,
Yes.
Mr. McLean,
Yes.
Mr. Meredith,
Yes.
Mr. Irvin.
Director's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Per the board's directive at the May 7th meeting, the high schools have made arrangements for a public graduation ceremony on June the 19th at David Crockett and June the 20th at Daniel Boone. Both events will begin at 9 a.m. I've got some requests. I have in my hand the executive order number 38 that Governor Lee signed on May the 22nd. It says in part, more than 50 persons may sit in a set of bleachers and watch an event provided the persons or multiple smaller groups of persons are spread out from one another and maintain at least 6 feet of separation from other groups of persons. The administrations of both schools have measured every which way they can. I am requesting that the board allow each senior to have 2 tickets for guests. Also, in the governor's executive order, it says that persons are urged to wear face coverings in public places. In accordance with CDC guidance, persons are strongly urged to wear cloth face coverings or other similar coverings in public settings where being in close proximity to others is anticipated, and particularly where other social distancing measures are difficult to maintain at all times. Mr. Chairman, I'm requesting the board adopt a protocol that masks be required of all persons in attendance at the graduation ceremonies. This isn't in the governor's order, but I am told that we do have the capability to take the temperature digitally of everybody who comes through the gate. And on behalf of our coordinated school health department, I'm requesting that the board require each person be screened for temperature as they come in. And I'll pause there.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion that we allow each person to bring the two guests in, 2-ticket rule, and all the other things that he mentioned be part of my motion, including the screening.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, have a motion and a second. Discussion. Mr. McLean.
I know that's what the governor said, don't have no problem with that. But face coverings ought to be optional, in my opinion. You're going out and seeing all these protests that are going on here in Johnson City, and the 6-foot rule, there's 15 people within 6 feet of each other. And some have masks, some don't have masks. So you go to Lowe's and the same way. If you want to wear a mask, you wear a mask, or if you don't want to wear a mask. But I would like to see us rope off what we can't use as far as every other row of bleachers. But I think there's plenty of room to stand, and with siblings, if they would like to come and stand, I would like to see them have that opportunity to come stand. Whether it be 6 per 6 per graduate. Once the bleachers are full, it's just like it was when it was in the gymnasiums. You snooze, you lose. Once it's full, you go somewhere else. I hope that's where we'll go.
Mr. Gainer.
I'm all right with the 2
per student, two people per student. I also agree that with Chad on the mask, I think it should be if you choose to. CDC is just guidelines, it's not requirements. And I understand they put those out for the well-being of others, but it's a choice. And so I don't want us as a board to mandate people wear masks. So temperature thing, I mean, if that's what the board chooses to do, that's fine, but I'd like to see us, if we're at odds a little bit on all, I think there was 3 things, even though the motion didn't state them, but I think it was 3 things: mask, take temperature, and 2 guests. But I'd like to see us take them individually if we feel like, you know, some people don't agree with some but do the others.
Mr. Chair, yes.
I'll echo a little bit of what Chad and like I said. Now, taking the temperature is, we've been doing that in the courthouse for like weeks. And the way the COVID virus is, if you've got a temperature, you're probably not going to be there anyway. If you've been exposed to the virus, you may not have a temperature. So I don't know. We're outside, and I think, Todd, that you could, parliamentary procedure does allow you to divide a motion if, you know, so chose.
That is so.
Well, I'm gonna say, I'll be honest about it. I've been thinking about this. 2 people is, my opinion, is not enough. Because you could be a divorced parent, remarried, you have different. I feel comfortable with 6 people. Putting the bleachers every other row or 6 foot apart or whatever, whoever wants to sit there, we're outside. Let them sit in the bleachers till they get full, which 6 times 300 is 1,800 people, right? So you're gonna sit 1,800 people over 3 acres. The football field, the stands, both sides, the track, at least 2.5 acres to 3 acres. So everybody, I think we should mandate 6 foot apart and let 6 tickets go out per person. Because if you got divorced parents, you got 4 right there.
Do we have
If they
enough,
remarried.
do we have enough seating to allow that much?
Well, you don't have enough seating, but you have enough area. Some will have to sit down, some will have to stand. You'll have some that's gonna sit down, and some students may not bring 6 people. But it's gonna be up to 6 tickets.
So you're saying to fill the stands?
No,
Not
I'm
to-
saying set what we can
Okay.
in the stands and the visitor side, and then the rest has to stand around the track.
But with separation guidelines.
Separate stands. Now, that's just my opinion.
Is there any place at either side, like I know we have those movable stands, we use them all the time. Is there any way that we can add those to the sides? Or is that just,
That can be made, yes.
would that give us more space? I mean, to do more
Well,
tickets?
You're either gonna sit or you're gonna stand, one or the other. That seat is gonna limit your sitting or your standing. Now, I don't have a problem moving the seats over there. You got softball seats, stands, you got baseball stands that can move over there, but you're
We're
gonna be
have to have a
limited.
handicap area set
Yeah.
up somewhere
So,
at both places.
but I honestly, I just feel like 6 people. I mean, I'd like to make a motion to the amendment, the motion, to change it to to 6 people, and masks if you want to wear them.
Second.
So recommended but not required.
Not recommended, but not required.
Thank you, ma'am.
Dr. Flannery, does CDC say anything about outdoor events? I thought I read somewhere where it said that, you know, the mask outdoors were not required.
That's the executive order predicated on CDC collection. And it says anytime you're outdoors around people, you don't have to mask on.
All right, yeah, Mr. Flynn?
I just want to say, you know, Dollywood opens that same weekend. Of course, they're having everybody wear a mask, but I don't see how social distancing's going to work
Well,
at Dollywood.
Dollywood, what I heard today, that Dollywood was only going to, you have to call and make it a
Reservation.
reservation to go to Dollywood, so. But, you know, we're gonna get this thing, and it's gonna be an hour and a half, and it's over, and, yeah, people will stand around, but there'll be a lot of people leaving, and I don't know, do we have a figure of how many kids may not be at the graduation?
The potential that looms about 300 grads, the potential that profits about 240.
So of that 300, all 300, or
No way.
there won't be all 300 there to graduate, part across?
We don't know that, but it won't be more than 300, because that's all we got.
Okay. I have a motion and a second on the amendment.
Well, did we just do away with the temperature? We're not even gonna include that. I don't,
What do y'all want to do?
Make part of my motion.
it's part of
Hey,
your,
you want the temperature out?
who was going to do that?
Our coordinated school health staff.
The health,
You know, the restaurants have a sign, and it says, please answer these 3 questions, 1, 2, and 3. If you've answered yes to one of these, don't come in. I mean, can we not put a sign up on the fence that says those 3, I can't quote them right now, but they're, it says if you've had a temperature or if you've been around somebody with COVID, and then there's one more, but I don't remember what it is. And those 3 questions, you know,
Do it quick.
Yes.
And, the schools now know exactly how many people they can put in the stands and the visitor stands and still social distance. So are you saying that once it reaches capacity, that they have to tell everybody else they must stand? They can't sit?
Unless we've got other bleachers sitting out there, and they can sit on them bleachers to a certain extent. You know, if we bring the softball field bleachers and the baseball bleachers over from both at the complexes and put them in there,
Where are you going to put those bleachers?
I guess we'll have to set them on the track, or set them on the
Well,
sidelines.
yeah, I mean, that's one of my concerns is we're fixing to trash both football fields with all the foot traffic, the chairs, the bleachers. And I mean, I know it's a big deal, graduation's a big deal, but we're shooting ourselves in the foot a little bit in the process, because football season is just right around the corner, and we are fixing to trash the fields with
Now,
foot
both
traffic.
places has got irrigation, and if you turn the water on, grass is gonna grow. Now, I'm sorry, but I know grass is gonna grow. Now, if it's mud, I can see that, but if it's dry weather, you're gonna turn the water on. So,
And then
That's
also, like I
my
say, you know, we did have the virtual graduation where they were allowed to have 6 people come, and this is on top of everything. So I think 2, limit the people as much as we can, and make people feel safe. We're giving the graduates a little something extra.
well, I have a motion, amendment to the motion for 6 people. No, well,
Optional.
Mask if you want to wear, and no temperature taking. Is that what I'm saying?
That wasn't part of the amendment motion.
The word's optional is not in your motion, correct?
Mine?
Yeah.
No.
No, he made an amendment, though, to it.
Working on this.
I made the,
Yeah.
I made the amendment
To 6 people.
to 6 people and mask if you want to wear one. We won't do.
We'll leave.
And no temperature checks. What's your amendment?
Temperature checks.
Did you second that, Mr. Fleener?
Yes, sir.
Okay, roll call vote on that motion, on that amendment.
Ms. Buchanan?
No.
Mr. Day?
Yes.
Ms. Dellinger?
Yes.
Mr. Fleener?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Ganger?
No.
Mr. Hammond?
Yes.
Mr. McLean?
No.
Mr. Meredith?
Yes.
Mr. Irvin?
Yes. Okay, now on the original motion as amended.
Ms. Buchanan?
No.
Mr. Day?
Yeah, is this with the 6 people?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Ms. Dellinger?
Yes.
Mr. Fleener?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Ganger?
No.
Mr. Hammond?
Yes.
Mr. McLean?
No.
Mr. Meredith?
Yes.
Mr. Irvin?
Yes. Motion passes. Mr. Ganger?
I would like to make a motion that we do have signage out front, like Mr. Buchanan was saying, stating the criteria, if we're not gonna be taking temperatures, just stating the 3 things, and we can, or at least some kind of signage state asking if they've been around someone with COVID, or if they haven't experienced a temperature, or
24 hours.
what.
The temperature in the last 24 hours, and I can't remember what the other one is, but I'll find out. I'll take a picture of it.
Just a motion to have signage out front stating some rules at the director's.
Well, maybe we could have some papers or something to hand out when they pick up their tickets. That could be something that they could,
I got a motion we have signage out front
okay,
Second.
all right. There's a motion and a second.
stating,
And the directors.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. For sure. Now, I mean, I would think that, when the director sends out the information to the students where it is, that you'd include those safety precautions in that information. Yeah, but if you want to require the sign, I don't think
Motion, I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Roll call vote on that, please, Jennifer.
Ms. Buchanan?
Yes.
Mr. Day?
Can you repeat that motion? I'm sorry.
That we have signage out front stating that if you've had a fever and
Been exposed.
Yes.
exposed and all this like that, that you will not be able to come in.
Okay, yes, I heard that right. Yeah.
Ms. Dellinger?
Yes.
Mr. Fleener?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Ganger?
Aye.
Mr. Hammond?
Yes.
Mr. McLean?
Yes.
Mr. Meredith?
Yes.
Mr. Irvin?
Okay.
Mr. Chairman. I'd also like to ask the director if he could coordinate with the sheriff's department and have, if possible, their crews to go down there and weed eat and, do what they can do to help the grounds look presentable.
It will be difficult, but plans are underway without the agricultural departments at those schools. Plant control has been difficult, but the principals are already working on that. It won't look like it would for May graduation, but it'll look as good as it can.
There's also some signage. Dr. Planner, if you'll email me and remind me, the Cattlemen's Association's got some social distancing signs that says 6 foot apart that we bought for our heifer sales.
And how long?
You asked right now, so I'm sure they would.
Mr. Flannery, do you have anything else for
Oh,
the director's report?
Under want to give you a quick budget update. The Commission's Budget Committee is scheduled to meet tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. They are now allowing in person-to-person meetings. Brad and I will be there. We'll be physically present. We have reason to believe, and we hope that the school system's 3 budgets will be discussed. I believe that we will have a resolution in front of the full commission on June 22nd, and I'm hopeful that we'll have a budget in place on July 1st. That sounds all right?
We're moving, that's the way the boat's being rowed.
Okay. And under other, a gentleman by the name of Herman Pineville, I know I'm butchering the fellow's name, is the owner of Crockett Corner Market near Crockett High School. He wants a beer license, but he can't get one because there's a building on Crockett's campus within 2,000 feet of his business. He requested, that would be the guard shack where Dale is. He requested that I sign a letter and send it to him stating that that building was not used for student purposes so that he could get a beer license. I refused. He has obtained the services of an attorney, a fellow named McVeigh, which works, I think, in Jonesboro. Mr. McVeigh requested that I take it to you, the school board, for your approval, and if you direct me to do so, I'll provide him a letter saying that no students don't use that house. You should know that once the individual gets a beer license, it's forever. It doesn't matter what you do on that campus at any point in the future, he just keeps his beer license. So, Mr. Chairman, I will leave that in the hands of the school board to direct me if you so choose. If no action, I won't do anything.
I make a motion that you do not sign that we do not support your signing that waiver.
Second.
Well, discussion? Any more discussion? Well, go ahead.
I mean, I was just looking at the map here, and I think I see the facility you're talking about is just a few feet up from the entrance to the property. But then there's a Shell station a little bit further down, which I'm assuming they sell beer there. And then up at Pioneer Market,
They don't. That's where he's wanting to have beer.
at the Pioneer Market. Oh, Lord, that's further away than the Shell station.
How did the Shell station get it?
No, yeah, I mean, see, oh, okay.
Well, I shop at the store, Pioneer,
Hey,
and
Jennifer, can you put a Google map up on the screen, or?
And I'm going to say this because, just like what Mitch was saying, it's at the Shell station. It's closer to the Shell station than it is to his market. So my argument is, I feel like he needs to, if he wants it, I can't see us stopping him from doing it. You know, you got kids that's going to the Shell station to get food, you got kids going to his market to get food. So,
What if we ever have to build closer? What if we ever have to use that?
we're not going to.
You don't know that?
Come on
Well,
out.
there's the Shell station right straight across
The
the
Shell
street.
station's right across the road
And
from
then
our
there's
school
the Pioneer
system.
Market where,
It would-
not that one.
Our property line is right there at Dale's shack.
this is Pioneer Market's where he's talking about putting it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's a motorcycle shop. Yeah, that's what,
But we own all those woods right across the street from the Shell.
From the Shell station.
Yeah.
We own every bit of that.
Yeah, and kids run by that every day for cross country.
What was the Shell there before Crockett? You have any idea?
The Shell,
But how did they get it? You have any idea?
Warren Bros.
The proximity law did not go into effect until years after that beer license. I can't remember the time Michelle did sell beer. I've been around Crockett a long time. Not been around long.
I can't, go ahead, Doc.
I was just gonna say, well, there is a law in place now. And I don't think we open it up to accommodate just because one got it when there wasn't the law. And we don't know if we may build down the road or whatever. To me, it should go to the edge of the property line, not to where a building's at personally, but I can't support it. That's all I got.
Well, I can't see us not letting him just because it's already at the other store. And that other store is closer to our school campus than where he's at.
But it went in before the law was in effect,
Well,
okay? There's a difference here.
Roadrunner Market put beer license. You don't let beer license happen to Roadrunner Market. Warren Bros own all Roadrunner Markets.
Hey, Keith,
Yes,
I understand what you're saying, and I know that guy, and I think that's great, but he knew when he bought that store, he couldn't have beer.
He absolutely did.
So just because we feel sorry for him, we shouldn't bend the rules for him.
I don't feel sorry for him. I feel like you've got all these other stores around here that's got beer. And you're telling this one that he can't because he's too close to the school, and
Mr. Chairman, can I say one thing?
yeah.
Dr. Flannery, did I understand you to say that you had already written in a letter that you were not going to,
I remember if I wrote a letter or an email, but when put upon, I declined to write the letter certifying students did not use it.
okay, so if this board takes no action on this, would your policy change it?
No, sir, I won't do anything. If you take no action, I'll take no action.
Excellent.
Jennifer, would you, so I don't vote the wrong way, would you repeat the motion?
Go ahead, Jennifer. Mr. Ganger has something to say too.
For the director to not sign a waiver for the local, and I'll clean this up, local store close to David Crockett High School to obtain a beer license.
Thank you.
So, let me ask you this. When a Family Dollar or a Food City or something like that goes next to a school and they put beer in, is that what we're gonna do? Is that what
They
we're
can't.
They can't,
They can't,
They can't.
but they'll know that before they buy the property.
and he did too.
They'll, I used to work for the beer company.
I'm looking at
but-
new markets and stuff that's went in that has never come across it, just like at South Central. You're looking at South Central School, and you got a new Family or Dollar General that went in down there that's selling it. So, Mr. McLean?
Call for the question, Mr. Chairman.
No, I've got Mr. Ganger down here. Mr. Ganger?
I just caution this board of setting a precedent. If we bend the rules for this one, we're opening it up for the next business to come forth and say, hey, you let this one do it, now I want to be able to do it. So do not do that, I ask.
Well, this board has turned away people even further out. There was a place on the other side, over there was a restaurant that wanted to sell beer, and this board turned it down then. So I agree, we're setting a precedent, and I think we need to do what's best for our children.
Mr. McLean?
Call for the question, sir.
Question's been called for. Roll call vote, please.
Ms. Buchanan?
Yes is voting no,
Yes is voting no, yes.
For him not.
for him not to do it.
He's directing the director to do something that he's already done.
Right.
Mr. Day?
Yes.
Ms. Dellinger?
Yes.
Mr. Flannery?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Ganger?
Yes.
Mr. Hammond?
Yes.
Mr. McLean?
Yes.
Mr. Meredith?
No.
Mr. Irvin?
No. Okay. Update on Jonesburg building project.
Mr. Chairman, I'll be glad to go first. We met,
I think everybody has it. He said Mr. Bennett said that he emailed some answers to questions you had.
Design Committee met Wednesday. About a 2-hour discussion, and they provided us with several different drawings. Is that what you're getting ready to pass out?
Yes.
Okay, you're gonna pass out a packet that shows you these different drawings, and then there is a transcript of what we were given ahead of time that describes a whole bunch of this, where they have had various meetings with different people, different subgroups, if you will. And I'm not gonna try to tell you what every bit of it says, but I will tell you to pay attention to drawing number 3, which is the one they seem to be settling toward, which is a complete.
Can we get it out first?
I did.
Right in the middle.
Right in the middle, all right.
In your drawings, you will basically see K-8 school 3, 2, and 1, and there may be a 2B or something like that in there. The last one they covered with us, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Ganger, the last one they covered with us is K-8 school number 3.
Those people at home.
Well, I want to say something here. I'm thinking I'd like to have a call board meeting to discuss these plans and have Mr. Browning and the architect, whoever come in here and go over this. I'd like to know what you all feel about that. Because I don't want to sit here and make a decision without looking at these things.
Well, let me tell you that we didn't make any decisions at the last design committee meeting.
Yeah.
The only thing that was voted on was at the very beginning of the meeting, the motion was made that Chuck Best be the chairman of that committee. And other than that, it was a 2-hour meeting of hearing the architect talk about the different issues. And the result of that is what you have in front of you. Nothing else was voted on at that meeting, right, Mr. Ganger?
That is correct, and if I could just add, we're not here tonight to pick one of these. They're not ready to pick one. Dr. Flannery, as I understand, they haven't even done core drillings or anything yet.
This is just ink on paper.
Yeah, so this is, the reason, one of the items that was brought up was a track, and there's only one design with a track, a football field with a track. And I told them that I felt like this school needed to have a track. And I said, I would want to take this back to the athletics committee to have discussion on it. Well, after further thought and talk with Dr. Flannery, we decided we just put it on the agenda tonight and let the full board come to a recommendation or see what the full board's decision would be on whether we want a track or not, and then have Dr. Flannery, if we choose, yes, we want a track at this site, the board wants a track at this new Jonesboro site, we'd have Dr. Flannery do a resolution to Mayor Vest to let him know where the board stands on this. That's the only decision we really need to be making tonight. Everything else is just food for thought.
Do you make a motion that we want a full-size track?
Well, no, I want to have some discussion here before a motion is made. My personal opinion, we jump into motions all the time before anybody can kind of put their 2 cents in, and I'd like to hear some feedback from the board.
Some of the 2 cents.
Yes.
That's horrible.
It's the truth, though.
Mary Beth?
This plan, is it 3? Is this the one that we're talking about, this 3? I'm a little concerned because I don't think it has enough green space for the school. And this play and courtyard is not going to be a very good location right too close to those main areas. It's gonna be distracting. But where was the playground?
I was just gonna say, none of these are set in stone or anything
know,
like that. And, they are just for us to view right now, but a lot of them are leaning towards no track. So that's why, I wanted to get it out here to us so we could decide whether, hey, this board thinks the new Jonesboro school needs a track, or no, let's save money, not have a track.
Mr. Meredith, Mr. Ganger, or the design team knows, will the track, whether or not a track is in place, will that change any of the options? Or that is, can it be utilized on all the options? Or does the topography and the site plan mean if you've got a track, mean you are kind of locked into?
I think they're going back to the drawing board once they know this board wants a track.
Okay,
And
because
they're
I saw
gonna-
one plan in here that did have. a track.
Yeah, and that's the only one, because I questioned that, why, there's only one, and I'll be honest, I question why they're so close to the road. Every one of them has a building so close to the road,
Exactly.
and I don't like that personally. And, but they said, because of the lay of the land, and another reason was they didn't want ball fields to be the first thing you see when you come in. They wanted you to see the school. And me personally, I think for security reasons, I want the school sitting back farther, away from a road. But that's, all these things still gonna be ironed out. But yes, whether we have a track or not, plays into the design that they're gonna be able to use.
Can I ask a few more questions? So do we have any other elementary or K-8 schools that have competition tracks?
Ridgeview and Grandview,
Both have,
now they're not rubberized, but they're perfectly suitable for track meets.
okay. And do we have any data or information on the use of those tracks for competition?
They usually have their track meets at Boone and Crockett because those tracks are rubberized, but they have practices on their campuses. And those tracks are valuable. Schools that have tracks used in physical education, they're used by the community nights and weekends.
Well, I hear tracks, but there's a difference between a track and a competition grade track. And I think that's what the question is, isn't it?
No,
Oh, okay.
it's a track period.
Okay.
Yeah, because,
Jonesboro Middle has a track
Yeah,
around its football/soccer field.
Okay.
they
What-
use it, it's
what-
used all the time.
Yeah.
and then I think that's one thing maybe this committee has to start reiterating, this is a community place as well, like Dr. Flannery said. It's not just about the school, it's about the community. And everywhere there's a track, people go and walk them of an evening, or, they use them. And, I think I've made it clear I'm for it, so.
Yeah, well, it's hard to have a unit, as a PE coach, it's hard to have a unit on track and not have a track to run and teach them those different elements of that sport. 'Cause
It's pretty hard to have somebody to design a school when they don't know nothing about schools.
Well, and I mean,
I'm not putting my 3 board members that's on that committee down, but I feel like we know more about schools and safety and where we want tracks and buildings and away from the road.
And if you look at most of our schools, we have our athletic facilities in front and the school sets back just for safety.
but that's, I guess, the purpose of the design committee. They're throwing these things out there, and hopefully the design committee's thinking about them, and, if it's not one of the 3 board members that are bringing up questions, hopefully, some of these other committee members, if they got a question or whatever, they'll shoot an email or talk to one of us so we can bring it up to the board. There's concern for whatever, so, but, right now if we need a track, we need to be stating we want one out there. Otherwise, we're probably not gonna get one.
Let me get Mr. Flannery.
I just want to address a question that Mr. Meredith had. The track is enormous, takes up over 5 acres, and the architect did tell me that if you put in a full-size track, you probably lose some parking.
Yes, and he stated that in the meeting, I believe.
Now,
Yeah.
key words there, and maybe that's what I was thinking when I said competition. What's the difference in a full-size track and a track?
How do I know?
Four laps around track's a mile.
Right.
So, but like the middle school, Jonesboro Middle School, that's not regulation.
So, okay, so that's the question. Does it, maybe rather than competition, does it need to be a regulation track?
Well, to me, yes, if you plan on playing football there, because you need that buffer sidelines, so kids don't get into the asphalt or whatever it is. You need the space in the end zones, you need that space on the sidelines. and-
Mr. McLean?
I just wanted to note that what Mary Beth said a minute ago about the play in the courtyard. If you look on 3 in between the 2 buildings, that Jan Allen made a note or a comment in the meeting that was absolutely a nightmare for the teachers that are just outside the building. That's a distraction for those classes that can see those playgrounds. And I think everybody agreed with that I've talked to.
Yeah, there's not enough green space, not enough places for, how many, 900 students?
Well, they're buying 45 acres big, is that
I
what
thought it was
they're
48.
talking about? So,
So the tracks are, Mr. Ganger, customarily around the football stadium,
Yes.
right?
Yeah,
That's-
field, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
okay, I need a motion on the track.
I'd like to make a motion that we have Dr. Flannery send a resolution to Mayor Vest stating that this board is 100%, well, this board is in favor of a regular sized track at the new Jonesboro school site. Second.
Have a motion and a second.
I was going second. He beat me to it.
Okay. I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? That is a regulation track, right?
Yes.
Regulation track. Okay. Roll call vote, please.
Ms. Buchanan?
Yes.
Mr. Day?
Yeah.
Ms. Dellinger?
Yes.
Mr. Fleener?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Ganger?
Aye.
Mr. Hammond?
Yes.
Mr. McLean?
Yes.
Mr. Meredith?
Yes.
Mr. Irvin?
Aye. All right. Moving on.
May I suggest everybody read through this packet, and there's a lot of information in there. The meeting lasted about 2 hours, but I very strongly recommend that everybody read through them. You may have other questions.
Mark Sizemore, Johnson City Insurance Agency.
Mr. Chairman, at a recent meeting, the board asked for details involving becoming a drug-free workplace. Mr. Sizemore is our insurance agent. He is joining us digitally, and he is the expert on getting organizations to be a drug-free workplace. Mr. Sizemore, the floor is yours.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me, Dr. Flannery?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay. You and Dr. Kieran had asked me to talk about the Tennessee Drug-Free Workplace program that's available in Tennessee and tell you the benefits from it. Well, let me tell you why this came into play is because 40 to 50% of all work comp claims are related to substance abuse in the workplace. Somebody that's abusing substances are 3 to 5 times more likely to file a work comp claim. Of course, that has a negative effect on the school, the Department of Education's work comp experience modification, which directly increases or decreases the amount of premium. Medical costs for substance abuse employees incur 300% more medical costs than a non-abuser. Absenteeism, 2.5 times more likely to be absent more than 8 times a year than someone who doesn't abuse drugs. So when you flip that over, the benefits to the school board other than keeping costs down is the work comp. It also gives you an immediate 5% discount on the workers' compensation for the school board. And that's correlates to $15,000 right off the bat in savings. It also gives you the right to discharge or discipline an employee who either refuses to take a drug test or test positive for a drug test, either a current employee or a job applicant. If you have an employee that's injured on the job and you do a post-accident drug test, if they refuse to take that test or the test comes back positive, the burden of proof is shifted from the employer or the school over to the employee. And it also gives us the right to deny a workers' comp claim. So it's it's an immediate savings of 5% of the annual comp premium. It's a cost containment program to mitigate losses and to keep your experience of life down. And the only thing you have to do is fill out a short application to the state. They look at it, they approve it, then you become a Tennessee drug-free workplace. You have to do three things. You have to do a pre-employment drug screens. You have to do random drug screens, and then post-accident. If an employee gets injured, you have to drug test them after their injury. And you, for school boards and for municipalities and stuff, they've also pushed the law through. Instead of doing random tests on the whole population, that you only have to do it on people that are in safety-sensitive jobs. So for the school board, that would be people, mainly your drivers, your school bus drivers, who would have to have random drug tests. And we, as the insurance carrier, we pay for as part of the work on post-accident drug tests, so there's no cost to the school board there. So it's pretty simple, fill out an application. And the DOT requires you to get a CDL, you have to have a drug screen anyway, so it's not a whole lot more than what you're already doing. And then I think it really will help as far as the safety program to help keep losses down on your work comp, which will keep your experience mod down, which keeps your premium down. And then it'll you'll see more productivity. Employees know that you have a chance for a random drug screen. They're less likely to abuse anything. It's pretty most of the privately owned businesses and companies around have all gone to this Tennessee drug-free workplace. If anybody's got any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Chad, I need you just a second.
Mr. Sizemore, first I'd like to say thank you for saving us $500,000. That was a well surprise. But also, do you know of any other school systems that are drug-free workplaces?
I think that probably the majority of them now have either gone to or are going to a drug-free workplace. Everybody's got budget crunch this year. Tax revenue's down. Everybody's having to cut the budget. I think everybody's really looking at any means they can to decrease costs.
Mr. Gaines?
Mr. Sizemore, did you say you would recommend just having people that drive the buses have the random drug tests?
You can set that up any way you want, but you're only required by the Tennessee drug-free workplace law to test people that are in safety-related jobs. For the school board, that's probably the drivers, the school bus drivers.
What if we wanted to do any employee throughout the system? Is there a percentage that you have to randomly do?
I think the 15 to 20% for private companies, and I believe that's what it is. It may be a little less for a school board just because they've, I guess, lobbied and they've got some laws changed a little bit where you only have to do the safety-related employees, so it may be a little less, but it's probably about 15%.
But even if we did just the safety-related employees, if someone was to get injured, say a teacher got injured, they're still going to be required to take a drug test for, because they were injured, correct?
That's correct. They'll take a post-accident drug test, so we're required to do that. And the work comp carrier pays for that as part of the work comp plan.
Don't the school bus drivers have to take a drug test every year anyway?
Random tests.
They
4
do,
times a
they
year.
do.
How many times?
We do random tests 4 times a year.
Okay. So they're already doing that anyway.
No other class of employees tested ever, unless I suspect them of being intoxicated
Yeah.
on it.
Anybody else?
Well, so, I mean, I'm not hearing anything really additional that we need to do, or maybe I missed something, Mark, that we would need to do to become a drug-free workplace. We're already randomly testing safety-related drivers. You don't have to do it for certified staff.
You can though.
You can, I get that. But, I mean, the first step is to become a drug-free workplace. And then if we want to expand that to some kind of random drug testing, then so be it.
But I think we gotta make a motion to fill out the form and become that, a work-free drug place.
Is that right, Mr. Sizemore? That, I mean, what we're doing, is there anything else that we would need to do to become a drug-free workplace other than some administrative stuff that maybe Dr. Flannery needs to do?
No, that's all you do. You send an application to the state will approve it, then you just, basically do what you're doing as far as pre-employment and, post-accident. You're doing the drivers are required to do it now, so that's not a big deal. The other thing you can do, it allows you, if you have suspicion of somebody that's abusing drugs, you have the right to do a drug screen on them as well. So it gives you the pre-employment, post-accident, suspicion, and then safety randoms.
Okay, thanks. And I think our workers' comp premium is about $300,000 a year. So did I hear you say that you could expect about a 5% savings on that?
You'll save 5% on it. The premiums, right at it's $296,000. So you'll save $15,000 from round numbers.
Yeah, for filing a piece of paper.
For filing a piece of paper.
No brainer.
I was just gonna make one motion, go ahead.
Mr. Sizemore, I appreciate you. And we'll have Mr. Flannery get back in touch with you tomorrow, okay?
That'll be fine. Thank you for your time. I appreciate the opportunity to be here.
Thank you very much. Now, do we want to call Scott, or do we need to, can we get him back on?
I believe we can get your attorney on the phone if you told us.
I'd like to speak to the attorney, because the attorney has some comments that he wants to speak about this.
Scott, it's Bill. The board is interested in hearing your thoughts on the drug-free workplace proposal.
Okay.
Can we do better?
Ask him to go back to the link he came to earlier.
All right, see, can you go back to the Google Meet link that you had earlier? All right, we'll stand by and see if you can get back up.
There you are.
There we go.
Scott, we just got off with the, can you hear me?
Hold on. All right, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, hold on.
voted on issues here. And I would be very excited about getting to do the things that I'll be doing.
He's in 2 or 3 meetings.
You're doing
Sorry.
something.
Like it, doesn't it?
Sorry about that. We're actually interviewing a new pastor, and I'm sitting here trying to.
A new pastor?
A new manager.
Yes.
We just got off the phone with Mark Sizemore, and he's talking to us about a drug-free school system,
Okay.
workplace. Can you highlight what, I believe you said you talked to Mr. Flannery about some issues that,
Sure. So, first of all, what you've got to look at is how much money are you saving, because that's a hard number, and then you've got to compare that to the hard cost of what it means to comply with that statute, because that's also a hard number. And from what I have learned over the years, talking to school systems that have explored this for any length of time, they have found that the cost of compliance exceeds the insurance benefit. But the other thing to think about is the unknown cost of compliance. When you look at the procedures that you have to follow for compliance with the Drug-Free Workplace Act, it is very difficult for a local governmental entity to comply and follow all the constitutional safeguards that have to be in place. I personally am not aware of any school system that is currently under the Drug-Free Workplace Act. I talked with Ben Torres at the SBA a few months ago about, in connection with another client, and he wasn't aware of anybody who does it. Simply because most of the time, if you need to test someone, you already have reasonable suspicion that you need to conduct a test. And so you just conduct the test. And so you're not gaining anything except possibly the savings on your insurance. But again, that's offset by the cost of running the program. But the risk that you run is if you do not adhere closely to the high requirements, then you can very easily violate someone's rights to privacy. And yeah, so those are the considerations. I think that you would want to know for sure what your savings would be. You would want to know for sure what it would cost you to run the tests, to be in compliance, and find out if those savings are substantial. If they're substantial, then we can talk about the unknown risks of violating someone's constitutional rights and running the risk of a lawsuit. But again, I know of no school district that does this. They instead follow the reasonable suspicion requirements of the Fourth Amendment. And yeah, there we go.
Mr. Ganger.
I'd say one huge benefit of it is if someone's injured, they take the drug test because they were injured on work time. They take the drug test, they fail it. Now we're not going to have to pay the workers' comp that goes along with it. And that can be huge savings in itself.
But it could be. But so if you have someone who is injured and they're injured under circumstances that create reasonable suspicion, you're going to have them tested anyway. What the Drug-Free Workplace Act captures isn't the post-accident testing, which you already have under your current policy. And it's already part of the TSPA model policy system. What you capture with the drug-free workplace is somebody who has not yet gotten into an accident. So I would suggest if you have an industrial setting where you have people who get hurt all the time, then you are in a very different scenario, and it's worthwhile to explore a Drug-Free Workplace Act. But you've got a bunch of office workers and highly educated professionals. I don't know what your comp rate is. what your occurrence rate of injuries are. But if you're going to do the Drug-Free Workplace Act, you're going to be testing, Mary Beth Dillinger. You're going to be testing Susan Kiernan. You're going to be testing Jennifer Moore. You're going to be testing. Those are the kinds of people you'll be testing. Now, what you want to capture is if Mary Beth Dillinger's been, had a big weekend, and she shows up the next morning. No offense, Mary Beth, I apologize. But you might capture somebody who has something in their system that they're not supposed to have before they get into an accident. But again, there too, the principal can always order a suspicion-based drug test anyway.
But that's not what I was saying. I'm saying somebody, let's say the wood shop teacher, is in the class doing their job. There's no suspicion. The principal isn't suspicious of anything. They cut their finger off. All right. Now we can drug test that person if we implement this, and that if drugs are in the system, then we're not going to have to pay that workers' comp. Is that not correct?
Well, okay, so it would depend. You would have to establish causation, but you also have the same thing. Again, I'm pulling up your board policy manual, but I think your current policy establishes that in the event of an accident, you can have a drug test of anyone anyway. Dr. Flannery, do you remember what your policy says on that?
If I have reasonable suspicion of drug or alcohol use on campus, I can order the drug or alcohol.
Right. If somebody puts their finger off and they haven't done that previously, I would contend that's reasonable suspicion.
Scott, question for you. When the insurance guy was on earlier, his comment was, and this goes back to the cost of compliance, okay? And I agree wholeheartedly with you. If your savings costs are less than your cost of compliance, why are you even bothering? But his contention is that the only compliance areas that we would have any cost related to were the random testing of those involved in safety areas, i.e. our drivers. That the rest of the rank and file of the school system would not, there might be some exceptions, but the teachers, the administrative staff would not be subject to a random drug test unless we so choose to do that. But that
well, and you could certainly separate out your employees.
Well, I mean, on the government side, you can exempt. Well, you need to double check this, but my understanding is that you only have to random test your safety related folks, your fire, police, drivers, your clerical, administrative are not subject to that.
Well, okay, so just so we're clear, because we're talking about different things now. So let's understand that whenever you have a serious accident, I don't care who it is, and I'm looking at your existing board policy. And so your board policy says that in the event you have a serious incident, which is defined as a fatality, a bodily injury, which requires immediate medical treatment away from the scene of the accident, or in the case of a vehicle accident, damage requiring the vehicle to be towed. In those scenarios, death, serious bodily injury, which requires medical treatment away from the job site, or damage to a vehicle involving a tow, then under your current policies, you shall have a drug test. Okay? So you are, if that's all your insurance company is asking for, then I'd ask for the credit right now because you've already got it. Now, if you're talking about suspicionless drug testing, then you probably already have that too, because your CDL folks, let's see here. let's see, y'all test your CDL folks the first time, and then whenever there's an incident, and also whenever there's reasonable suspicion. Apparently y'all don't randomly test your CDL people currently. You could,
Randomly.
yeah, I mean, so what I would want to know from your carrier would be, okay, if all you have to do is DOT random testing for someone with a CDL, then that to me is a different scenario altogether. If that's all they're asking for, then that makes some sense to me. You declare those folks to be safety sensitive. Yes, ma'am.
Hey, Dr. Karen says that we test our CDL people randomly 4 times a year.
Okay. Well, that's not in your policy, but if you're doing it, then what I would do is I'd simply ask your carrier, okay, look, we're already doing post-accident drug tests. We're already doing suspicion-based drug tests, and we're already testing our CDL folks 4 times a year. What more do you want us to do to get the credit?
We gotta fill out a
Because
piece
if
of paper.
you don't do anything.
I think all we gotta do is fill out a piece of paper and the state approves it, and then we're there, I think.
Well, the last time I looked at this for somebody, the state, and it's been a while. I mean, I will readily concede it's been a while. But the last time I looked at this, the state wanted all employees to be subject to random testing. And I would, frankly, I think you run into some constitutional issues. You're doing random testing on teachers and teachers' aides. Suspicion-based testing is fine. I think random testing of CDL folks is fine. And evidently y'all do too, because you're already doing it.
It's not mandatory, it's, Susan, it's not mandatory, it's voluntary, what is it?
Random.
It's random?
It's mandatory. It's mandatory.
Well-
But it's random. There's a way that our database spits out the names of a certain amount of drivers, and we pick from that next morning and they got it.
But it could be the same random driver, or is it could be the same random drivers, it wouldn't be 4 different ones or whatever.
We're not tested wholesale.
Yeah.
It's random.
That's what I think, if we may have to test all the
Well,
drivers.
Scott, I think the crux of the question, from what I'm kind of starting to gather is, you know, what does, if the state requires you to, in order to be a drug-free workplace, requires you to randomly drug test everybody, then I probably, you know, I would probably agree that the cost of that is going to far outweigh the cost of, or the savings on premium. But, so I think the question needs to be answered is, would the state require random testing of all employees or just safety sensitive employees?
Hey, Mitch,
Jason?
didn't Mark just tell us that it was only the safety employees, it wouldn't be teachers and that sort of thing?
He did, but he doesn't get his check from the state of Tennessee, so we probably ought to see what the state actually
Is this
says
something we
about
have to
that.
do right now?
I think what we need to do is let Mr. Flannery, Mr. Sizemore, and Mr. Bennett come back to us next month with a clarification, recommendation. Is that something that everybody would support?
I think we need to know the percentage of employees, if you have to do all of them. If you have to do all employees, what would the percentage be? And how many, in essence, how many would we be testing? And if you don't, can you just test the safety, critical positions?
Are we already doing it? You know, that's something.
It's all
But everybody on CDL gets one a year. Anybody. It's got a CDL driving a school bus. They're all random, all of them.
It's all random.
Now, if you
Just
want to
found
get
out
your
it's
CDLs,
twice.
you have to
Right.
pay some.
It's twice, not 4 times, it's been reduced, it's 2 times a year, 10% each time, and the state only requires us right now to do 10%. So we're doing twice what the state requires for our CDL drivers.
And never 2 years, you're mandatory to have to do it because you have a CDL. Get your health
Well,
card.
you got bus drivers, plus you got coaches, it's got CDLs that needs to be.
Well, some do, some do.
Yes, and you've got, if they drive a Washington County vehicle, they have CDLs, you know, anybody has a CDL, but if they drive a county vehicle, period.
Yeah, drug test.
Okay.
You gotta drug-
Is that something that we can go on, we can move on and let
Yes.
the director and Mr. Bennett get this worked out?
Savings is on 15,000.
Scott, is that good with you?
16,000.
That's good with me. I mean, frankly, if you're already satisfying the statutory requirement, then there's no reason not to go ahead and do the application. I'm just looking at the state drug-free workplace regulations, and I'm not seeing anything that clearly says one way or the other, whether you can put one group subject to testing but not another. Now, it makes some sense to me, because I would imagine that the risk that your carrier has for teachers is different from bus drivers. At least I would hope.
Well, my workplace,
But I can look into that and get back to y'all.
my workplace, Scott, is drug-free workplace, and we do random tests, but it's not all employees, it's just those with the CDLs.
Did you hear that, Scott?
I did.
Okay. All right, we're gonna move on, if that's all right. We appreciate you getting back with us, Scott.
No problem. I'll be here all night.
Oh, will you now? Are you at home?
No?
You gonna be here all night though?
Yeah.
Okay.
Holler if you need to.
All right, thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
Okay, is that good enough with everybody? Let Mr. Flannery and Mr. Bennett go over that. Is everybody with agreements of that? Okay. Moving on. Allowance and reimbursements.
Mr. Chairman, the annual agenda provides that the board review allowances and reimbursements each year at the June meeting. The policy governing this, which is 2.804, is in BOE Connect for your inspection. The list of reimbursement amounts, which is not part of policy, but is administrative procedure also there. Mr. Chairman, I recommend adoption of the report with no revisions.
Okay.
Page 2.
Second.
Need to make a motion, right?
I'll make it in the form of a motion.
Second.
Have a second. Any more discussion?
There are no changes, right? I mean, this looked like the same as what it's been.
I don't even know.
Okay.
Okay, roll call vote, please.
Ms. Buchanan?
Yes.
Mr. Day?
Yes.
Ms. Dellinger?
Yes.
Mr. Fleener?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Ganger?
Aye.
Mr. Hammond? Mr. Hammond?
He's
Rose?
sitting awful still.
Mr. McLean?
Yes.
Mr. Meredith?
Yes.
Mr. Irvin?
All right. Where's he at?
Said he's having power
Closed
outages.
location.
Okay. All right, deferential pay plan.
Mr. Chairman, the state requires a differentiated pay plan to be developed by each school system and submitted to the department in early July of each year. Our proposal is in BOE Connect. It's basically identical to the plan that we used last year. In fact, I think it's identical to 2 years. I did add one thing this year. I put in an allocation for brand new teachers. We historically will have 5, 8, maybe 10 teachers that are right out of college, and I've added money so that each of them gets their own dedicated mentor throughout the year. I meant to do it last year, just forgot, but I added that this year. Mr. Chairman, I recommend and request approval so that we can submit this to the state.
Do I have a motion?
Make a motion.
I'll second.
Okay, I had a motion and a second. Any more discussion?
No, I think that's a great use of the money. That's just one of
We used to have a mentor program.
Yes.
didn't we?
'Cause I have-
Roll call vote, please.
Ms. Buchanan?
Yes.
Mr. Day?
Yes.
Ms. Dellinger?
Yes.
Mr. Fleener?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Gager?
Aye.
Mr. Hammond? Still wrong. Mr. McLean?
Yes.
Mr. Meredith?
Yes.
Mr. Irvin?
Aye. Review and consideration of policy 5.1041.
You forgot something.
What did I forget?
Gibson requests.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
That's kind of a minor detail. The annual agenda provides that the board review a list of gifts and requests made to the school system over the previous year. Mr. Hale has prepared that list. It is in DOE Connect for your inspection. And on behalf of Mr. Hale, I recommend the board accept this report.
Make a motion.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Hey, one question, Mr. Hale, these are all cash contributions, is there any requirement for, and I don't know if we receive any non-cash contributions or not, but if somebody were to donate materials or supplies or equipment, would that fall into your statutory requirements?
Anytime there's a donation form, and we fill out what the donation is and what the donor specifies it must be used for.
Yeah, but what if it's not cash? What if they actually donate?
Same thing.
Okay.
If it's a car, which we had a car donated a couple of years back.
Okay.
The one donating that car specified what it was to go to, and I think that was at that time it was Crockett, the auto mechanic shop at Crockett. So whatever the donor specifies it's to be used for, we're bound to do that. So it's wrote on a donation form.
We haven't gotten the playground furniture from Boots Creek yet, have
I've not been told that we have.
I'm sorry,
If we
can I ask
have.
that question, please?
we haven't, we haven't received the playground equipment for Boots Creek yet.
It's in our possession and it's in storage on campus.
So would it be something that should be in that report?
I was not made aware we had.
Well, yeah, I get that.
Okay.
Asking the question.
So if I would have been made aware of it, it would have been
Yeah, I
okay.
think
Rocket
it would.
Green House?
I don't know.
Well, how would you put it in playground equipment?
Yeah, if I would have been made aware of it, I would have just put the month, playground equipment, Boone's Creek, and the estimated value is what I would have put, because there's not an actual money, there might not be an exact dollar
Well,
amount.
I would submit that once it's installed, or maybe in the month of July, to get that on the book somehow.
So, there's a missing piece on here
Okay.
to the Crockett Greenhouse, Crockett Agriculture.
I'll tell you what it is. It was
Okay.
It wasn't cash, was it?
We just didn't have record, we didn't have a record of it in finance, so.
Okay.
So that's why it didn't make the list.
we got a big donation. Yes, sir.
So does this need to go back to be worked on? or back to us?
I think so, Mr. Chairman. It's in the police report.
Okay. We'll not vote on the gift and request.
I withdraw my second.
Mr. McLean, withdraw.
Mr. McLean, will you withdraw your motion to accept that gift and request?
I will.
Okay, okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Chad, will you do your second?
Yes, ma'am. Or yes, sir. I already told her, sir.
All All right, review and consideration of policy 5.1041. Okay. That policy, somebody refresh my memory on that policy, Jennifer, or somebody can pull up that policy.
Yeah, he's called
Human
her.
resource, okay. I feel like this policy, I believe that we need to leave this policy, let the director make his decisions on this policy. That's- He's fulfilling the seats of people that's retiring, and I think he knows the person he needs to put in that position, so that's my opinion.
I'd like to agree with that. I don't think it needs to be in board policy as I stated. I think everybody's well aware of that, but I'll say it again.
You're on board.
I'm against it.
Any more discussion?
The only difference in this and the actual job description, Dr. Plannery, isn't it the 3-year requirement for being an HR?
I believe it's the same.
I mean, is that, would you feel comfortable in saying that?
Yes,
So if the board really wanted to put a 3-year minimum of HR duties, we could tag that to the job description and leave it out of our policy, correct?
in order, if the board wants it, the only thing the board has control over is policy.
And job descriptions.
Well, I'm supposed to write the job descriptions and then present them to you for approval. Yeah, that's fair to do.
Jason, David, any comments?
I'm just listening.
None at this time.
Well, this is on second reading, and it's a roll call vote on second reading on this policy.
Only if a motion's made, right?
Well,
Somebody has to make a motion for second
It was a
reading.
motion from last month.
Somebody has to make a motion to approve on second reading, and if they do not do that, I assume it just dies, would it not?
So I'm asking, what's the board's pleasure?
I mean, do you all not feel like a 3-year minimum is fair for a job of that caliber?
I feel it's more than fair.
Whether it's in policy or in the job description. I mean, I want it in there. I don't care how you get it in there. I personally want it somewhere, myself, or I wouldn't have made the motion.
Are you making a motion now?
Annette?
I'm asking for opinions. I mean, I want to work together on it.
Somebody refresh my memory, but I do not remember us approving the description or what was put out there for this job. I mean, I don't.
The last-
You approved that, you did approve that motion last month.
No, I know this one, but I'm talking about,
In summer law. It's kind of a broad stroke, but that's the reason we get all those. I looked back and I seen a job description for every job. And we
okay, so it was
approved.
in that.
Yeah, so the cleanest way, the way I understood from Scott with the questions, was it'd be cleaner to put it in the job description, which we do have. I mean, you can make minor changes, is that right, Dr. Planner?
If
Or,
it's in administrative procedure, I can change it every day.
yeah, But the job description, as far as the core values, you can add and take away things on there, I guess, or add to it or whatever you deem fit. But if it says 3-year, minimum requirement, then that would be a requirement on that job, correct?
Does that, Keith?
Yes. Jason, go ahead.
So with what Dr. Flannery is saying, he says he can make changes to it every day, so does that mean there's really no reason for us to add or take away anything to a job description because any superintendent can just change it as they see fit whenever they see fit? Is that what I'm hearing?
Unless it's in policy.
Unless it's in
I
policy.
can't
We better
change the
get it
word
in
policy. I can
policy.
change administrative procedure at will, I cannot change policy.
You can put in policy that whenever a job description is changed, that it comes to the board for review, but you don't have to put the actual job descriptions in board policy. He said, I'm gonna say this, and if I'm wrong, somebody correct me, but we choose the positions. If we want to create a new position, we tell Dr. Flannery, hey, we want this position. He draws up the job description, and we approve the job description. Is that correct?
Which would seem to me that if that job description were to change, we would have to approve the change.
But he's saying that ain't the case.
If the board policy states that, 'cause he has to, abide by
Well,
board's
I
policy.
mean, if you create a job description that says, your job's to mow the grass, and then you change it, and now your job's to teach math. And I mean, why even approve the job description? I mean,
The way I read that, I thought though, was the director can add or take to, it also says in our language on the job descriptions that you can add or take away from that job description at your discretion.
That's
But-
critical. It really is important,
But you can't take away the requirements for that job.
but it's so.
So-
If you set requirements.
But that's what the job description is, a set of requirements up top for the qualifications for that job, correct?
Yes, it'd be the same things if the state board set a requirement for, say, a math teacher, or as a General Assembly set a requirement for anybody. I can't take away from or add to that either.
But if we do it in a job requirement, it doesn't have to be in policy. Or should we, like Todd said, make a policy that says we okay every job description, and if you deem to change it, you come back to us to ask.
That would work because that's already how we do it. I cannot create a job, only you can. You create the jobs and you create a salary schedule. I hire
And you
people
fill it.
for the job and then plug people in the salary schedule. It's real clear. You do the language.
Mary Beth, she's got something to say.
I make a motion, we accept this on second reading,
Second and final.
second and final.
I second it.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Mr. Ganger?
So are we gonna start putting all job descriptions in our policy? Board policy?
Maybe one at a time.
I mean, you gotta remember, when we do things, we set precedents on how we want them done. We don't just pick and, just randomly do things just to be doing them. And when you go to remove a policy or suspend a policy so you can change how you're gonna do it, that's kind of a big deal. And so I think this is being taken a little lightly, just to get something done that people are wanting done. And you don't need to be just doing things to be doing them. We gotta do them for the right reasons. And if you're planning on doing every job description, then vote for it. But if you don't plan on doing every job description in the policy, I wouldn't be voting for it.
Annette?
So this job description for me, is about protecting the board as, for HR. HR is a huge deal, and that's where lots of lawsuits can come into play. So for me, somebody having a degree in human resources, it says to me, they know what they're doing in human resources.
The policy doesn't say degree. It doesn't even say certification.
It says bachelor's degree in job-related area, which would be That's the job related, that's the job, is human resources.
It does not say
Human
certification or
resources.
degree in human resources.
The biggest change was the 3 years of previous HR experience. I thought that was the difference between what your job description says and what this policy states.
It just says experience, not certification. That's a big.
I thought that was the difference.
Sorry, that's the way I read it, is that, yes, that you would, I mean, that's what that says to me in job-related area. Well, the job is human resources, so that would be the area.
You got an education degree, I don't know if that's human resources.
Well, you know, and I wouldn't put a human resources
I think it's
person who's
first.
gonna transfer. I mean,
Yeah, up toward the top, I'm sorry.
it's just about.
Right there, the bachelor's degree in job related.
I was just gonna comment on what Annette said, and, you know, I understand that, you know, it's a big deal, lawsuits, all that stuff, but, there's nothing that goes through here anymore, and I don't care if it's finances, HR, whatever it is, that they don't end up talking to Scott Bennett about first anyway. And, I mean, so, or your attorney, whoever it may be at the time or whatever, but I mean, so everything's always still passing through him. So you could do one of two things. I guess you can get rid of him and get a true HR person so they know the law, or, you know, we use him for everything. There's nothing gets done anymore without running through him. So to me, we're kind of already covered our base a little bit. And when you start going to get and I might be wrong on this, but a true HR person, you're going to pay a lot more than we pay.
Yes.
And I was able to interview a certified HR person just a few days ago. This individual works for a large healthcare organization in this region. And this individual was interested in being our HR person. And the interview was going very well until we talked about compensation. And I came to understand that this organization pays this person more than you pay your superintendent. And she declined my offer.
Mr. Hammonds?
I think this all started from asking the attorney, and to answer Todd's question, yes, all key positions, it is planned to have, or should be planned to have, a job description. For liability reasons, several reasons, and even Scott reached out to TSBA today from what his email said. As far as somebody applying for a government position, they already know they're not going to make what they make in the private sector. That's ludicrous for them to think that. There's people that want to maybe not be in the private sector. They want to be certain hours, certain conditions to do with the job. And the key thing is to post that job in multiple sites to reach out to get a broader market.
Well, I just feel like that we're taking something away from the director, and this HR person, I'm gonna ask, Ms. Karen, you are our HR person? What is one of your titles? What else do you do for this school system? You're a bid review person. Your whatever else, textbooks, school bus, part of the bid review and everything. So your title is Assistant Director of Schools.
Materials and curriculum and everything.
So I feel like Mr. Flannery needs somebody to cover all that besides just HR. You're fixing to hire one person that is strictly, that's it. And I don't really think we can afford to do something like it, so, but now that's my opinion.
Take a reorganization. We're not really doing that.
With 1,200 people, you don't think we're big enough for an HR person?
I mean, if we're hiring people, working people, everybody quitting and going somewhere else, which, but I'm just an old dairy farmer, so I don't know, so.
But
Mr. Clayton.
only thing, Mr. Chairman, the only thing that like I said, I like the part that you have to have 3 years past experience of HR. And you could be a principal to get that, you can have any other types of positions where you have past HR.
But
We
is the
have
policy
the
making, that is your degree in HR?
No. That's not the way I read it. Now, I agree that it may be misleading because it does say in
I'm
the,
sitting here listening to everybody say that you're gonna have to have a degree in HR.
That's how I read it, but obviously that's not how everybody else read it. It's just the way my mind worked.
it says job-related field, but I didn't see it that way. I just thought we were wanting 3 past years of experience, and that's what we were adding on to the job description. And I mean, I agree, it may not be the policy manual would be the best thing for that to be. It may be on the job description, but the thing is I like having 3 years past experience of HR. That's my kicker. I mean, I know when Dr. Kiernan got HR, she had she'd already dealt with people as being a principal at Silver Springs and Fall Branch to where, dealt with that. So,
Well, I still feel like we're taking it out of the director's hands. I have a motion and a second on the table. And Mr. Gangers, over the restroom, we're gonna take a 5-minute break here just as soon as we get this motion took care of. Dead time,
You ain't got what you need, go ahead.
Dr. Flanger, do you think it's unfair to ask for 3 years
Steve,
worth
have you got
of
what?
HR? Do you think that's?
Run 100.
What I don't understand is why you wouldn't want somebody in that position that had HR experience. You made a comment that you'd rather take somebody out of classroom and put them in HR, and that just floored
What
me.
I said was I'd rather have an educator.
Well, okay,
That was my statement.
okay, so
If
can
I
you
work for an
expect?
airline, I want pilots there and pilot pilots. If I
Right.
work for a law firm, I want lawyers hiring lawyers. If I
Okay.
work for a school system, I want educators hiring educators.
Okay, okay,
That was my answer.
okay.
I can see how somebody might, my conversation with that HR professional opened my eyes to what somebody like that can do for us until we talk compensation.
But it's a big, it's a technical, it's a tough position for 1,200 employees, and you need to have an excellent person in that position.
My interview also pointed out that someone coming out of education into our organization, we got a very steep learning curve, tenure by itself.
Oh, yeah.
Is a big one.
Right.
The collaborative conferencing process, nobody does that in education. We're complicated.
Right.
But then there's the Title VI and Title IX thing. They probably know that, they're in their way, they probably know that. That's,
Is the salary not listed on the, is it not listed? The salary range, is it
for
not?
us,
Well, for the job description, for the job that you've interviewed. You don't?
We have salary schedules that are posted and we can kind of do that.
Well, now, like with an educator, it would be based on their years of experience from somewhere else and all of that, but if it's something different, it wouldn't be, would it?
No, we probably throw them in the same way because we have years' experience in a degree, we treat them sort of like we would Dr. Kiernan, when we calculate her salary. Because we don't know anything. That's how we do it. We can bring in experience.
All right, I have a motion and a second.
And by the way, this would be a tier 2 supervisor's position, because I have an assistant director of schools that should be an educator. So this would be
Right.
a supervisor level position, not an assistant director level position.
Right, I agree, yeah.
repeat that one more time, make sure I heard that right.
An assistant director of schools should be an educator. And an HR position, not an educator, this person is a certified HR person, and would be at the upper level of the supervisory salary range, but not an assistant director.
Similar to Mr. Hay.
No, Mr. Hale is paid as an assistant director of schools. The
Okay.
decision is made by my predecessor.
Okay.
The other six assistant directors are all licensed, trained, educated, and declared in the same
Okay, David?
So the finance director is an assistant director of schools too?
He is not. He is paid on that.
He is not. Okay, that's what I want to make sure.
He is paid
Not,
on-
I mean,
He's paid on that salary scale, but he is not designated as an assistant director of schools.
Okay. Roll call vote, Jennifer,
Mrs.
please.
Cannon,
Yes.
Mr. Day,
yes.
Ms. Dillinger,
Yes.
Mr. Fleener.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Ganger,
No.
Mr. Hammond,
Yes.
Mr. McLean,
Yes.
Mr. Meredith,
No.
Mr. Irvin.
No. Okay. Next,
Break.
break, 5-minute break, okay, sorry. I'm gonna go ahead and do it right now, Mr. Planner. I need a request from the principal, and he needs to know, Mr. Campbell, are faculty and staff allowed to come to graduation?
Yes.
How y'all feel?
Yes.
That's about 60 people more. Could be. How y'all feel?
So it need to be a motion.
Well,
Yeah, well, I want a motion.
Well, we think about this for a second.
No.
Realize. I mean, because you're now raising it up 60, potentially more people. And we're, like Boone, you got 300 kids graduating, you're getting 6 piece, that's 1,800, and that's, you know, I'm not saying I don't want them there, but we're gonna have a lot of people. We're gonna have a full graduation by the time it's all said and done.
Well, you wouldn't have a full graduation, Todd, because you got all these kids and stuff that comes to graduations and everything, so they're not gonna be allowed because they won't have a ticket, so. And like I say, you may have kids that won't get 6 tickets, you know, so.
They'll get them and give them to
I don't think you have to do anything on it. I think you leave it. Look, we've got one employee that's supposed to run the schools, and I think Dr. Flannery he can take this, and if he feels it's appropriate, then so be it. We support it. If he doesn't, then so be it.
Well, we just overruled Mr. Flannery's thinking
Well,
because he was
as a
one
board,
with
we
2.
did. As a board, we did, but some of us didn't. But that's-
I agree,
but we
as a board.
support it.
Yeah, so I'm asking for a motion that, do you all want to let faculty and staff come to the school graduation?
I don't want to give you a motion.
Well, Mr. Fleener,
I would love to make that motion that we allow faculty and staff to come to the graduation if they so choose.
And I'll second.
okay, I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion?
So
Seeing
will
none?
they, excuse me. So
Okay,
will
Miss-
they be sitting
You
in
didn't
the
hold your hand up.
stands?
Miss Buchanan,
So sitting in the stands, they will be allowed to sit in the stands?
they'll
Will
be
there
just
a
like
place-
every person there. If they want to wear a mask, they can wear a mask. If they don't, they don't. If they don't get there in time to have a seat in the stands, they'll have to stand.
Now, are we inviting them or are we telling them? they
No,
have to
we're
come?
inviting them.
Okay, thank you.
They can come if they want to. If they don't have to. That's just my request that I have on this piece of paper right here.
Dr. Flannery?
I have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Ms. Buchanan?
Yes.
Mr. Day?
Yes.
Ms. Dellinger?
yes.
Mr. Fleener?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Ganger?
Aye.
Mr. Hammond? He's having trouble with his text me. Mr. McLean?
Yes.
Mr. Meredith?
Yes.
Mr. Irvin?
Aye. Thank you, that clears up that problem. Committee reports, bid review. Ms. Karen,
It's Mr. Hammond.
oh, Mr. Hammond is not available,
He's having,
difficulties.
he can't get connected.
Would it be appropriate for
Skip the
Mayor
session.
Jason to do it?
Yes.
Can you fill in for him?
Mr. Day can.
Okay, Mr. Day, can you fill in for Mr. Hammonds? He has no signal.
I can try with Miss Karen's help.
She said that she was done.
They have a list of the recommendations that we voted on. If I remember correctly, it was the paper, the printer paper, and I do not remember, I don't have any of that in front of me, who we got that from.
Do I have a motion?
Magazines, paper, motor oil, and tires.
Yes.
Do I have a motion for the report?
Motion, yes.
Okay, I have a second. All those in favor of the report, please say aye.
No.
Oh, I have to voice, okay. Sorry.
Ms. Buchanan,
Yes.
Mr. Day,
Yes.
Ms. Dellinger,
Yes.
Mr. Fleener.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Ganger,
Aye.
Mr. McLean,
Yes.
Mr. Meredith,
Aye.
Mr. Irvin.
Aye. Okay, motion passes. Mr. Day, first thing on the
Mr. Chairman,
report,
if he doesn't have that report in front of him, Mr. Fleener was there and he does have it, and it might make it easier if he did it.
Jason, do you not have that report in front of you?
Well, I don't know how to get, I'm on my iPad, I don't know how to watch you and pull it up and read it all at the same time.
Well, if it's okay with you, I'm gonna let Mr. Fleener do it.
That'd be great, yeah,
Okay.
sorry.
Mr. Fleener, will you please read off the report on what we're buying?
Well, the first thing, we looked at the magazines for school libraries, and we awarded Discount Magazine in Fort Myers, Florida for the purchase of magazine subscriptions for school libraries at the low bid of meaning $3,450.04.
Do you put that in the form of a motion?
I was just, you took the words straight out of my mouth.
Okay,
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Ms. Buchanan,
Yes.
Mr. Day,
Yes.
Ms. Dellinger,
Yes.
Mr. Fleener,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Ganger.
Aye.
Mr. McLean,
Yes.
Mr. Meredith,
Yes.
Mr. Irvin,
Aye.
Mr. Hammond.
We still keep that.
Yeah, he said aye.
Okay, motion passes.
You know, Mr. Chairman, before we start on these other three, since this is the last board meeting that Dr. Kiernan will be with us, let's just let her do his last three.
Mr. Hammond's back, he may have a different idea. I'll be glad to, but
He can't talk.
He's muted.
He's muted.
He's unmute, David. Well, I'm asking Ms. Kiernan to please do the last three.
the committee recommends for duplicating copy paper, award Tennessee Office Supply for the bid for the paper based on quality of the product. $23.89 per case for 8.5 by 11, and $38.16 per case for 8.5 by 14.
I'll bring that in the form of a motion.
You got that in the form of motion? Do I
I'll
have a
do it.
second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Excuse me. Discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Ms. Buchanan,
Yes.
Mr. Day,
Yes.
Ms. Dellinger,
Yes.
Mr. Fleener,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Ganger,
Aye.
Mr. McLean,
Yes.
Mr. Meredith,
Aye.
and Mr. Irvin.
Aye. Motion passes. Ms. Karen?
The next item is motor oil, and the committee recommends award the purchase of motor oil on low bid for bulk, $8.39 per gallon, which is exactly the same price from last year, to Greenville Oil and Petroleum, Greenville, Tennessee.
I'll bring that in form of a motion.
Second.
Second. Discussion? We not buying no cases this year?
Mr. Roberts at the bus garage said he meant to pull that this year from the bid document, and we sent it out anyway, and he said, we don't do it, so we really don't need to award that bid. He said we buy in bulk only.
Okay. Roll call vote, please.
Ms. Buchanan,
Yes.
Mr. Day,
Yes.
Ms. Dellinger,
Yes.
Mr. Fleener,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Ganger,
Aye.
Mr. McLean,
Yes.
Mr. Meredith,
Yes.
Mr. Irvin.
Aye. Motion passes. Ms. Karen?
My final official act. The committee recommends to award the purchase of the tires to, on item 1 to Southern Tire Mart for $10,301, and item 2 to Snyder Fleet Solutions, Kingsport, Tennessee, for $40,182.
Thank you, Dr. Kiernan, for your final act. I'd like to make that in form of a motion.
Second. I have a second. Discussion. I'm not gonna do what Mr. Flannery asked me not to do, so I'll just keep my mouth shut. Roll call vote, please.
Ms. Buchanan?
Yes.
Mr. Day?
Yes.
Ms. Dellinger?
Yes.
Mr. Fleener?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Ganger?
Aye.
Mr. McLean?
Yes.
Mr. Meredith? And Mr. Urban?
Aye. Thank you. Is that all?
That's all we have, Mr. Chairman.
Okey-dokey. Finance Committee report, Mr. McLean.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We just met today, so I'll read the report to you. You might look at your Chromebook there and follow along with me, I think. Finance Committee met on Thursday, June 4th, 2020 at 3:30 p.m. at the WCDE Central Office. Those present for the meeting were Chairman Philip McLean, committee members Mary Beth Dillinger, Annette Buchanan, Mitch Meredith, Director of Schools Bill Flannery, Director of Finance Brad Hale. Also in attendance was Jerry Whitaker. The committee considered the general fund financial statement for the month of April 2020. The committee recommends approval. The committee considered the federal fund financial statement for the month of April 2020, and the committee recommends approval. The committee discussed the proposed FY20 general fund year-end budgeting amendment. No new funds are being requested. This is only to balance out certain expense items in preparation for year-end closing. Committee recommends approval. Mr. Chairman, I move for approval of the report, please.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the report? Roll call vote, please.
Ms. Buchanan?
Yes.
Mr. Day?
Yes.
Ms. Dellinger?
Yes.
Mr. Fleener?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Ganger?
Aye.
Mr. McLean?
Yes.
Mr. Meredith?
Aye.
And Mr. Urban?
Aye. Motion passes. Mr. McLean.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Committee moves for approval of the general fund financial statement for the month of April 2020.
I have a motion. I have a second.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Ms. Buchanan?
Yes.
Mr. Day?
Yes.
Ms. Dellinger?
Yes.
Mr. Fleener?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Ganger?
Aye.
Mr. Hammond? Mr. McLean?
Yes.
Mr. Meredith?
Aye.
Mr. Urban?
Aye. Motion passes. Mr. McLean.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Committee considered the committee moves for approval of the federal fund financial statement for the month of April 2020.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Or second.
Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Ms. Buchanan?
Yes.
Mr. Day?
Yes.
Ms. Dellinger?
Yes.
Mr. Fleener?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Ganger?
Aye.
Mr. McLean?
Yes.
Mr. Meredith?
Aye.
And Mr. Urban?
Aye. Motion passes. Mr. McLean.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The committee moves for approval of the FY General Fund year-end budget amendment.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion?
I'd like to ask a couple of questions if Mr. Hale could clarify for myself. I wasn't here to see that, but on page, I believe it's page 2, Brad, it was the increase in the vehicles. I just wondered if there was an
It'll be page 2, because page 2 is revenue,
Okay,
so vehicles.
is it 6? I can get it.
It'll be in the transportation category if it's a vehicle. So,
I go into the next page, Jennifer, that kind of hung up on me. I don't know if there's something inside.
go to like page 6 or 7, see if it pulls it up. This stuff shouldn't take so long to load.
I'm not gonna get sick of down here somewhere.
I didn't know if it was like a bad,
I'm
something
surprised.
goofy in the document.
I can plug my computer in and put it on the screen.
Mine will follow. We got a lot of rain, don't we? Did you know that? A lot of rain that fall.
Rain's gone.
Carl said something about boom, boom a while ago.
Thunder.
I guess. Macy gets that new lamp. First one.
Is that it, Brent?
Plug it back in.
Do you remember the dollar amount, Chad? Or
It's $40-some thousand increase.
I have a feeling I know why.
Chad, most of these were doing some simple line adjustments. There were no new dollars, but there was some dollars moved from one category to another. If we knew we had some money left over, it got moved into an area that might need a few dollars or something.
Was, the reason I'm asking though, the way it looked like with being on the new vehicle side, are we planning on purchasing a new vehicle? Would that be, I mean, cause this was last year, so it'd be running out July 1.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Let me just put my screen up there. This thing shrinks it whenever I plug it in, so it format's not very friendly.
That's the only reason
Is it listed vehicles, Chad? Because when I go to, it would be here under 72, 17, 17.
right there, the 51,000 increase
So that
right
was-
there.
That's not part of this amendment. This was what we did earlier in the year in December.
Okay.
When we agreed to purchase more vehicles. It was the 2 lease cars and then an extra van for IT. So this column is budget amendment 2, which is where we are right now.
I apologize then, sir.
Now, right here, since I'm on the screen at 280,000, that was the dietary payroll
Yep.
that you agreed to pay.
Yeah, I seen that and I, for some reason, thought it was over there, and that's the reason I knew there wasn't, not 30 days left of this month to buy a new vehicle, so I was just wanting to see.
There is, if you look at the very last page, there is no new money.
Right.
It's just some line
Yeah.
dollars transferred around.
Yeah, right here's, this column's the budget in effect, 70 million, some number, 2,170, and you can see it's the same over here. It's just simply cleaning, a lot of the salary line items, if I think I'm gonna be close, or if, sometimes for the year-ending amendment, I will move more there just to be safe, because there's a lot of moving parts, and sometimes I don't know them all before they happen, and it just gives me some cover, because the salary line items, if we go over, it's an automatic finding.
Well, I like I said, I apologize. I thought that was over there and we were going to buy a new vehicle, but it wasn't in bid review, so I wondered how come that got moved over there. So, sorry for the confusion. Thank you.
Okay, I have a motion and do I have a second?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Ms. Buchanan?
Yes.
Mr. Day?
Yes.
Ms. Dellinger?
Yes.
Mr. Flainer?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Ganger?
Aye.
Mr. Hammond, did you hear the motion? It was for the in-year budget amendment. Mr. McLean?
Yes.
Mr. Meredith?
Aye. Not necessarily here, yes.
Mr. Irvin?
Aye. Okay. Motion passes, Mr. McLean.
Mr. Chairman, that completes the Finance Committee report, and based on some of the other discussion about the bidding and so forth for the items that's been needed for graduation, I have another motion that I would like to make to clarify something. Based on the COVID-19 and the way graduation is coming about this year and the controversy that we've had the last few days, I'd like to make a motion that we declare the graduation ceremony an emergency due to the time constraints, COVID-19 issues, and therefore no bidding will be required on any of those needs for graduation.
No personnel orders.
Second.
Mr. Burbidge.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Ms. Buchanan?
Yes.
Mr. Day?
Yes.
Ms. Dellinger?
Yes.
Mr. Fleener?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Ganger?
Aye.
Mr. McLean?
Yes.
Mr. Meredith?
No.
Mr. Irvin?
Aye. All right, does that conclude your,
Mr. Chairman, that completes the Finance Committee report.
okay. Staff reports.
Susan, would you like to say?
Susan, would you like to get up and speak for your, please? Okay. We ain't got nothing to say or nothing. All right, new business. Anything new business? Yeah. Review of director's evaluation. Has everybody got their, report back from the evaluation? Do they have it, Jennifer?
It's in BOE.
I haven't seen it, so. Is this where we get to give him a bonus?
Yeah. His score was 3.45. Is that what we're?
Pull up the other document, Keith, please. There you go.
It's just on PDFs that has the problem like that.
Yeah.
Better download it and open it faster, and it'll open up through BOE Connect.
Connection.
We haven't opened it up now, Bob.
So that percentage gives him what type of a bonus?
1%.
I'm sorry, what?
1%.
1%.
$3.451. So, I guess I need a motion to accept the evaluation of the, and the one-time bonus based on approval, the approval scale.
Mr. Chairman, I move for acceptance and approval.
Okay, I have a second. Roll call vote, please.
Ms. Buchanan?
Yes.
Mr. Day?
Yes.
Ms. Dellinger?
Yes.
Mr. Fleener?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Ganger?
Aye.
Mr. Hammond? Mr. McLean?
Yes.
Mr. Meredith?
Yes.
Mr. Irvin?
Aye. Okay. WCEA. Mr. Would you please read that?
I'm fine, sir.
What,
Mr. Chairman, I don't, while we, never mind, we done them both at the same time.
Mr. Chairman, I have in hand a note from Virginia France. It says, WCEA wishes to thank Dr. Flannery, Susan Karen, Brad Hale, Scott Bennett, and members of the school board for researching and answering our various detailed questions. We appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you, Regina. I guess we're getting down the round table. I'm gonna start with Mr. Meredith.
Oh, it's been a long month already, so, but, it's been a long meeting too. Be glad when we're through with all this and we can get away from, technology and have our parents and teachers back in the room with us. Looking forward to our graduation ceremonies coming off well and hopefully, well, this year will be something that all of our seniors will remember forever. But hopefully the graduation ceremony will be a great capstone for that. I want to thank all the board members for all their interest and efforts and trying to improve our Washington County school systems and our students in Washington County. That's all.
Jason, are you there?
Yeah.
We're at round table. You got anything to say?
No, good meeting, appreciate y'all.
Okay. Mary Beth?
Well, I've said it last time, it's been a unique end of the year. Thanks to all of our employees rising to the occasion to meet our students' needs. It was very impressive on social media, seeing the students come up to pick up their information or get their report card or whatever handed to them through plastic gloves and wearing masks. Very interesting, something they won't forget. Congratulations to those retiring, all over the system too. And I'm looking forward to graduation as well.
Okay, Mr. Ganger.
I heard a lot of good feedback on the virtual graduation, so I appreciate Dr. Flannery, you and all the staff that worked hard to get that together and going. I heard a lot of good things about it, and people were pleased, so thank you for that. And I hope the graduation, I hope weather's nice and it works out and give these kids, these seniors, something to remember going out with. I know it's not ideal, but it's best we got. So, all said, that's all I got.
Mr. McLean?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to start out with a very special thank you to Dr. Kiernan and all the many jobs that she does, and she's been an absolute professional and a pleasure to work with these 16 years that I've been here. And I know she wore a lot of other hats before that 16 years came around, but just a very special word of gratitude for all that she's done through the years for this system and all the different jobs that she's had. Special thanks to Dr. Flannery and Dr. Keys for all that they've done to do all the work for this graduation coming up. I think the students and the families are going to enjoy it as much as they can, even with the limited access we're going to have. Thanks to all the work the teachers did on this distance learning. I know it's been a challenge to everybody, but hopefully we'll have this COVID-19 behind us soon and can get back to normal. Have a good evening. Good night.
Mr. Fleener?
Just want to say congratulations to Mary Beth Collette. She won the state FFA Proficiency Award, and that's a big congratulations to her. I hope I'm not leaving nobody else out that got one in Washington County. But thank Dr. Kiernan for her years of service. Definitely going to miss seeing her smiling face here. We do welcome her to the rest of the board meetings that she wishes to participate in.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for everything you've done. Thanks to all the people that's retiring. We lost a Washington County legend here a couple of weeks ago, about a week ago, I guess, Mr. Tester. He was a principal when I was at Boone. He led by example. He was tough, but he was fair. He was a good man. Lost Miss Esser, which was a librarian, a few weeks before. And this past week we lost Gordon Harrison. And just thank him for all those years of service. All three of those give to Washington County. And prayers and thoughts go out with those families. Welcome to all the new teachers that I assume we've been hiring. And congratulations on Miss Hayes' new job. And congratulations to Miss Lyons and Mr. Merriman on their moves. And I'd say we're going to read about some more here soon. We thank Miss Adams for everything she did for Washington County. Appreciate her service and wish her nothing but the best. And she too is welcome at any board meeting that she'd like to come back to attend, so, thank you.
Okay. Ms. Buchanan?
I would just like to thank all the retirees for their service to our county. I hope you dearly enjoy retirement. I love graduation, so I'm truly appreciative to all of those that have been working, because I know a lot of time has went into the preparation for this in the circumstances we're under. And I had talked with Mr. Tipton. He sent me a message and wanted to let you know that the copier that we approved has saved him over 4 hours worth of work this week, and he really appreciates it.
That's good.
That's all I have.
Okay, Mr. Flannery, do you have anything you'd like to say? Okay. July the 2nd is our next board meeting. Is that a problem with anybody? Everybody gonna be here? That's on a Thursday, and the 4th of July is on the Saturday, so we're thinking go ahead and have the board meeting on July the 2nd. Does anybody have a problem with that?
Is this one going to be upstairs with everybody?
The executive order sunsets on June the 30th, who knows what he'll do though.
So tentatively.
Right now,
If it expires, it'll be wherever Chairman Evans says.
So it's back at 6:30.
Back at 6:30.
Yeah. If it's lifted,
If it's not, are we gonna do it at 5:30?
possibility. It will be in the, we'll decide.
Okay.
Good meeting. Like I say, Susan, do you want me to sing? My name is Keith Urban, I can sing.
Please.
Okay.
Not Keith Urban. Not Keith Urban.
My name's Keith Urban. I can sing. Well, is that something, do we need to have a call meeting and go over this packet? Is that something that we need to do, Mr. Flannery, or do you feel like?
At some point, we need to have somebody in here walking us through it and the pros and cons of all that stuff, yeah.
Then we could go over the past ones that we already had.
And I can also report that the 4 energy management companies have completed their work, and they'd like to get back in front of you at the time of review. And that would be appropriate to call them.
All right, is that, when y'all, what's your all's vacation schedules and everything?
I would say on the school project, I mean, until they get out there and do core drillings and see where they can put their school and stuff,
Well,
Yeah, there's not a real rush.
Yeah.
So wait till July and do it.
okay, is the committee on agreements to have the school in the back of the area?
the committee's made no recommendations at all. They were just,
I mean, you all are sitting there on that committee, have you voiced that?
I
opinion?
asked them why did every drawing have the school placed towards the front of the road? And their answer was they wanted people to see the school first and not ball fields. And to me, that's not a very good answer.
And our opinion,
I
or
agree.
mine, is school safety, to have the school in the back of that area.
I think maybe if that's the wishes of the board, maybe we have Dr. Flannery talk to Mayor Best about that and see what their thinking is on it, I guess, maybe, or something.
Is that the wishes of the board?
Well, I mean, as the whole board, I mean, if we're just voicing opinions, I mean, I get the school safety, but, you know, if I'm trying to picture a complex and you walk it and you drive up to a nice looking building versus ball fields, it does set a whole different, to me, it sets a whole different, vision. I mean, if I'm driving into, you know, ETSU and you see the mini dome, you know, that doesn't do a whole lot for you. But if you drive into, trying trying to think someplace, Belmont or Vanderbilt or somewhere like that, and you've got a nice building, but then your athletic facilities are somewhere else. I get this, I get the security part of it, but I don't have, you know, a big aversion to having the school at the front of the property, I guess is the bottom line. You know, I think, to me, it's gonna be driven by site cost. You know, Boone's Creek, we should have put the school closer to the road. We would have saved millions of dollars in site work. So, you know,
That's been a real issue for parents, that concern for them being near the road has been very concerning for them for years, and they want it off the road.
but you establish the glass and you create the safety barriers that you need. Otherwise, you have to take it out somewhere where there's no roads. I don't know.
Well,
I'm a parent, I get it.
I'm gonna put that in the form of a motion. Do we want the school, we're design, we figured out we wanted a full-size track. I want a motion that we put this school in the back of this property, or not.
I think we need at least an option of it being back there, you know, just like, you know, whether it's 2 level, 1 level, you know, we want that option.
The problem I got with that, Todd, is we're worried about safety. Okay, and I feel like that they're worried about prettiness.
But if they give us an option of one, I mean, that's all, we want that.
Will they? They may not.
Well, we'll tell them we want that.
Right.
We want an option
That's what I'm
to
asking
choose.
That's what I'm asking.
Like, if they're gonna give us 4 options, we want one of them at least to be in the back of the property, is what I'm saying.
Well,
Is
we've
that
already
what
made.
your motion is to request an option showing the school
Well,
in the back
he
of
was
the
gonna
property?
Well,
If it is,
I
I'm
was gonna
good
make a
with
motion that we put it in the back of the school, regardless. We've done voted on a track.
But what happens if whatever back there when they do the drill points, what happens if they can't put
You
it there?
get the cart before the
So-
horse.
I just feel like we need to request it, just request it to look there, and then whenever they do the soil samples, if we can put it back there,
Well,
then we need to
Slope of the land
take
had
some
something to do with
action.
it, didn't they say
Yes.
that, Mr. McLean, something about the slope of the land was?
Yeah, but in the first meeting, they said it was a perfect piece of land, would not require a lot of
Yeah.
prep, site prep.
Right, and now there's a different story, so I just think that the 3 of our board members can request that. I mean, that's not gonna do anything now.
Well, I think, coming from the board, if the board's in consensus, we want that, at least one option of it sitting back there, you know, then they're gonna,
You know, what if it needs to be in the middle? I mean, it would be better for our kids because our PEs will be able to take them on both sides of the building, but I mean, you know, just don't know, I just don't want to.
but my whole point was, every option was up front that they showed us, so we'd like to have other options.
Well, I'll make a motion, since Keith's on, I'll make a motion that we request him to give us an option, a motion to provide an option with the school at the back of the property.
I'll second.
In the middle? In the middle if feasible, you know.
It's just no options.
It's, okay, I have a motion and a second. I'm asking
See what you get.
for a roll call vote, please.
Ms. Buchanan,
Yes.
Mr. Day,
Jackson.
Mr. Day,
He left.
Hey, honey.
You awake, Jason?
Ms. Dellinger,
Yes.
Mr. Fleener,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Ganger,
All right.
Mr. McLean,
Yes.
Mr. Meredith,
Yes.
Mr. Urban.
I have no idea what we get. Life's like a box of chocolate.
Sure, whatever you say, Mitch.
Building in the back of this.
In the middle.
Whatever you say.
Options of where it would be.
Yeah.
Sheets, options.
Anything else, anybody?
Got 2 things. One thing, I think Ms. Keys and I spoke about policy, and there were some policies that we've already started going over, she already had ready to go over. Could we pick out 2 dates that were available to meet and since Dr. Keys is not with us at this moment, see which one of those two is better for her. Can we do that? Would that be fair?
Is that what you're saying? Full
Yes.
board?
Is that okay, Mr. Chairman?
Yeah, we need to get our policy manual completed anyway, but,
These are just some,
what Mr. Flannery's talking about, them people wanting to come Energy Solutions bunch is wanting to get involved. Do y'all wanna do that now, or do you wanna wait till we have till say July and do it?
Wait to do it in
Yeah,
July.
Can we just wait till July and do that, then we'll,
Were you talking about policy or?
no, the Energy Solution, do you wanna?
Yeah.
The energy, I believe, at facilities, it was, and then the board approved for a report to be given back to the facilities committee in written form from each company. And then the facilities committee was gonna review that and forward a recommendation on the full board, I thought.
That's what I'm saying.
I think it was how it was done.
I'll look back and confirm
Okay.
that.
Ms. Keys. Good evening, Ms. Keys. I'm doing wonderful. Do you, and I'm going off my memory, so don't trust that at all, but we were gonna come up with a couple of dates if it worked to meet in June to go over those policies that we've already talked about, and that you was already just, got paperwork and stuff on. Is that fair, or did you wanna put that off? Okay. Right, hold on, I'm gonna put you on speakerphone and I'll tell them that you can hear the dates, and we'll make sure that you work for you. Can we have it after graduation, towards the end of the month?
Sure.
And she's listening in, so she's gonna check those dates as you give them. Graduation's the 19th and 20th, so can we do the 23rd or Tuesday or something, the next week, or is it a bad week?
That'd be great.
It would probably be better for me if you give me a week after graduation to get everything together.
Okay,
Well, let's just do it sometime around sometime in July, the 1st of July.
Now,
That
when are
way-
you going to the beach? How about June 30th? She doesn't.
how about June 30th, Ms. Keys?
That works for me.
That's board meeting week, and we'll have committee meetings.
That's true
Then
too.
you're running in summer law, and the board retreat is the 16th through the 19th
Of July.
of July.
We're in summer law.
16th
to the 19th.
Mr. Flannery, what kind of schedule you got? No, you got vacation or something,
No,
don't you?
I'm vacating after every time.
How about the 30th? Does that work for everybody?
Was the 30th good with everybody?
We're gonna have committee meetings that week, board meeting week.
Everything else we're backed up.
Well, everybody gonna be here.
Would June
Already?
25th give her enough time, Chad? That's about a week.
She wanted to leave.
Yeah.
That
You got
gives
3
her
weeks
10
from now.
days. That gives her 10 days after the graduation.
No, it
No,
just
it
gives her,
doesn't.
The 20th and 21st of June. Then you're gonna go to 30. Now, I've got a high school education.
She said the 25th.
She told me, but she's just said the 30th. Did she not?
We
Yeah,
asked her if the 30th, okay, it's okay for her. It's whatever y'all wanna do.
that
The
would be a
25th
meeting on
is
Tuesday and then
just-
a regular meeting on Thursday.
The 25th would be a better day if she.
Ms. Keys, would the 25th be okay?
That'd give her
Yeah,
almost a
25th
week.
works.
The 25th of June?
Yeah.
The 25th of June would work for her, Mr.
I'll
Chairman.
be here.
Okay.
What time?
What-
Mr. Flannery, is that good
Look
for
it
you?
down.
25th would be,
Okay.
What time?
What time you wanna start there?
5:30?
I mean, whatever is best for the board is fine with me. 5 o'clock, 1
I'll
o'clock.
go,
Todd?
Five works.
Everybody
I'll
good?
go 5 o'clock.
Whatever works for Mr. Ganger.
He's the only one working.
Sorry, Ms. Keys.
the only one that have a flexible
He is
job.
the only one that doesn't have a flexible.
Probably be pretty that day. He'll
I
be
got
all
both
fitted.
then. Let's find a rain day.
Yeah.
You have a flexible job, don't you?
We'll pray
Okay,
for rain that day.
anything else?
Mr. Meredith?
And we need Dr. Kieran here for that meeting, correct?
I'm looking forward to
She's gonna come back even though
Thank you,
she's
Ashley,
not
that'll work.
yet.
Okay, thanks.
All right, bye-bye.
Everybody understands that I am bringing Dr. Kieran back on a 100-day contract to do my administrative procedures. In this process. Everybody knows that.
I will say this week on Tuesday, we had TSBA class and they mentioned that they have a free administrative.
We've been using it for the past
Okay.
6 days.
I did not know it, so I just wanted to make you aware of it. I forgot about that.
Free is good.
Yeah,
Where is your class at the Carnegie?
yeah.
When
What
is
is
this?
It was Tuesday.
Oh, this past Tuesday.
Yeah.
What was it? Which one was it?
Advocating the board's vision. That we need to change.
Okay. Meeting adjourned.
Turn us off there, Mr.